Welcome back to the Kosi Arsenal channel. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. Thomas Partey is injured, and this is scary, and this is really bad. You don't want to miss Thomas Partey this week as we take on Madrid, a Madrid side that has nothing to lose. They're at home. They're going to be closing their stadium. They're going to be closing the roof of the Santiago Bernabeu to suffocate Arsenal. You don't want to miss your best player, your best midfielder this season. Thomas Partey picked up something against Brentford. That has been confirmed by Mikel Arteta, and we're waiting for the extent of the injury. But we know Partey injuries, when he gets injured, it doesn't look good. However, we have some good news on that front as well. It comes in from Tom Canton. We're going to be sharing that with you. And then we shall dive into the Brentford game. It's a performance that I really like. It's a performance that I look at and the numbers and I'm like, Arsenal are progressing. We're going somewhere. And then we'll talk about the officiation, the Gabriel Martinelli tackle, Christian Nogard. For me, I don't know what PGMOL does. I don't know what VAR does when it comes to Arsenal. They are completely blind. They don't just see whatever goes on. If an Arsenal player kicks the ball, a second later, it's a straight yellow card, second yellow, sent off, red card, goodbye, see you. If another player is fouling an Arsenal player, all of a sudden, pitch MOL, the referees, VAR, nobody could see. There are no eyes on the field. I just can't understand it. But let's get into it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Now, Mikel Arteta has confirmed that there was something felt by Thomas Partey, and he says that Partey felt something, so we didn't want to take any risks. We don't know, haven't spoke to the doctors yet. Ben, we don't know as at the moment, that's with Ben White. He wasn't in condition to make the squad today to be selected. That was against Brentford yesterday. We have a few days, so let's wait and see how the situation is going to be developing. This is the worst case scenario. This is a horror show if you're Mikel Arteta. Partey is one of our best midfielders this campaign, and also one of the best midfielders in the squad. Like, we have one DM that can do what Partey does, and that is Thomas Partey. Declan Rice doesn't do it. Jorginho doesn't do it. Mikel Merino doesn't do it. Nobody does what Partey does. And if you get your mind back to the kind of game we had, the kind of performance we had against Madrid when they visited at the Emirates on Tuesday, it was a Partey show in midfield. He suffocated them. He was absolutely very, very top-notch. This guy literally was not putting a foot wrong. It was a 9.5 or a 9.8 out of 10 performance. It was one of the best performances I have seen Thomas Partey have in an Arsenal shirt. And we know on his best day, we know on his good day, Partey is one of the best, if not the best DM in the world. He's so magical. He's so important to the way Arsenal plays, so important to the way we attack games. So, was it a mistake for Mikel to play him in this game? For me, I don't think it was. I think Mikel Arteta is trying to trust his gut feeling that we can have the rest of the season without injuries. But every single time, again and again, his gut feeling is being proven wrong. He said we can play Gabriel and Saliba and Partey and everyone against Fulham. We suffered one major injury to Gabriel until the end of the campaign. And then he said, okay, against Everton, I'm going to do some rotations. I'm going to rest some players. Arsenal didn't suffer any damage. We went into the Real Madrid game. There were a few scares here and there. Rice coming off, Saka coming off, but they were all right. And then again, he took the risk and said, I am going to play almost a full squad. Of course, he did rotate, but Partey started in that game. That was, for me, Partey had to either get rotated or just get some few minutes. But of course, without Ben White and Julian Timber having that spell of injuries, you want to rotate him and you want to protect him. So I understand why Mikel played Partey at right back in that game. But it hasn't come out very well. The results are not actually very, very well. So this is what we know. Mikel says that he felt something and we didn't want to take any risks. Right? So we don't know what's going on. We haven't spoken to the doctors yet. By now, he should have spoken to the doctors and we will be getting the extent of the injury. If you hear nothing about it, it's okay. He's not in a bad shape. If something breaks out, right, you know he's in a bad shape. But what I want to say is this. First and foremost, he was taken off for precautionary measures. And Mikel says it right there and right there. He says we didn't want to take any risks, right? And we took him off. So it was precautionary. Yes, he felt something, maybe groin, maybe hamstring. We'll get to know, but it was precautionary to take him off, right? Mikel just never did want to be this stubborn. We know he's stubborn, right? We know that he played Julian Timber through a spell of uncomfortable minutes against Fulham. We know that. We know that he played Bukayo Saka for many games while Saka was uncomfortable. We know that he played Ben White through a series of uncomfortable moments and games, right, while he suffered an injury. We know that. But at the moment, he said, I'm not going to be stubborn. I'm going to keep Partey out of it, and let's see how this one develops. So it was precautionary, and Arsenal could breathe a sigh of relief very soon if we get the reports from the doctors. Now, there is a very positive outcome as well, a very positive article, and this comes in from Tom Canton, working with Football in London. He says that Thomas Partey spoke with reporters after the game in the mixed zone, right? Typically, players who have suffered bad injuries or are requiring significant treatment do not engage in post-match interviews. Okay, that makes sense, right? That is sheer optimism. And of course, we know Tom Canton is a big Arsenal fan, right? Big Arsenal fan base. He's got a big Arsenal channel as well. But he says Partey spoke with reporters after the game in the mixed zone. Typically, players who have suffered bad injuries or require significant treatment do not engage in post-match interviews. And that is true. I mean, if you really require immediate treatment, if you really require big treatment, there is no way you're talking to reporters after the game, right? You've been rushed into the surgical room, you've been rushed into wherever you've been taken to be assessed. And if you're as important as Partey is to Arsenal, you're not hanging around after the match, right? You're not hanging around after the match. If you have an injury, you're already being assessed. I think it is something that was precautionary by Mikel. We'll be getting an update. And Tom Canton also says that, listen, if he was that injured, he's not saying he's not injured, but he says if it was that serious and grave, Partey is not talking to reporters, right? He's already with the doctors, right, treating him. But the fact that he spoke to reporters, it shows you there is an optimism and there is a level of optimism that Arsenal might be okay with this one. Now, you don't want to get Partey injured right now. We really can't afford it. There are so many injuries that we have had this campaign. I think the Thomas Partey injury and the Bukayo Saka injury right now, we can't afford them. Honestly, we can't afford any more injuries. We have suffered enough. Good Lord, in the heavens, we have suffered enough. We don't want more injuries. It's enough, it's enough, it's enough. We don't want more injuries. It's enough. Because as you go into the Santiago Bernabeu, Madrid have already threatened, right? They're using psychological warfare. They have already threatened to close the roof of the Santiago Bernabeu, let their fans shout as much noise as possible to break down this Arsenal side. And we know they can do it. We know they have done it before, and we know the devastating effect of a crowd and a fan base. Go to Turkey, go to Borussia Dortmund. Their crowds are always behind their teams, and the Signal Iduna Park, the Galatasaray Arena, those are stadiums that are really difficult to go to and pick up a result. So as you go into the Real Madrid game, it's going to be a lot of pressure, a lot of tension. We must have Thomas Partey there. We must have Thomas Partey in the midfield to protect that back line. There is Jakub Kiwior. Of course, if Madrid power every single thing towards this Arsenal side, we might crumble under pressure, right? The pressure is going to be a lot, right? It's going to be a lot. The first leg had a lot of pressure, but the second leg is even going to have a lot of pressure, especially if Madrid score a goal in the first 30 minutes. They're the kings of comebacks, and they know it, and they feel it, and they believe it. So, Partey, please, we need you. Now, I want us to talk about the officiation in the Arsenal-Brentford game before we talk about the game, right? Because there are a few points I want us to talk about the game, especially with the numbers that we saw. But the officiation in the Premier League against Arsenal, to God, has a problem. VAR has a problem. PGMOL has a problem with Arsenal. And I will never know, you will never know, nobody will ever know what this problem is. I mean, we're not even trying to win the Premier League for Christ's sake. Like, we're 11, 12 points behind Liverpool. If Liverpool win the next 3 games, which they will, they win the title. Why are we being treated this way? I've been online, and I've been looking at that Gabriel Martinelli tackle, that Gabriel Martinelli incident. Christian Nogard comes from behind. For God's sake, he comes from behind. He's not anywhere near the ball at all. Christian Nogard is not anywhere near the ball. And how, in all senses, how is that okay? Like, how is that okay? How is that okay? And tapping the ball away, Declan Rice tapping the ball away just a few yards, right? Sends him off. How is that okay? How is this fair? Why are we being treated this way? Because we would have said it is sheer incompetence, and I know there is a lot of incompetence within the officials at PGMO, MML, even the likes of Mike Oliver that I like a lot, even the likes of Mike Dean that I like a lot, even all the referees. There is a lot of incompetence, right? There's a lot of inconsistency. But when it comes to Arsenal, there is something I want to understand. Why Arsenal? And in some cases, it is as clear as day. Because yesterday, Christian Nogard comes from behind. Gabriel Martinelli is in full control of the ball. Christian Nogard is nowhere near the ball, comes from behind, brings him down. What's wrong? What is really wrong with VAR and PGMOL and these referees? Is there an agenda against Arsenal, right? Is there an agenda against Arsenal? Do they hate Arsenal? Do they want to stop us? Like, what? Because I want to understand. If they want to stop Arsenal from winning the Premier League, what is their gain? If they want to stop Arsenal from winning games, what is their gain? Are they just corrupt, right? Because if you're corrupt, right, it means you're getting money from other clubs to stop us. That is the only way I can explain this. That's the only way it makes sense. That these are a corrupt bunch of officials that are literally on someone's paycheck to stop Arsenal. That is the only way this makes sense. Otherwise, it doesn't. It really, really doesn't. But talk to me, guys, in the comment box below. I really hate VAR now. I really hate referees now. They hate us. I hate them too. Honestly. That is what it's coming down to. I've protected these guys enough. At times I've always said, look, Arsenal, we're not creating good chances. Look, Arsenal, we are not doing this and that. But you can only defend them for so long, and then you see it. And I've defended them enough, and I'm tired. Now, yesterday Arsenal played Brentford, and that's why we've been talking about that, filthy officiation. But there was something that I really liked in the numbers of this game. And I think the stats actually show us something. I want to show you something. Arsenal, once again, completely bullied another team. Right? Look at these shots. Arsenal had 14 shots against Brentford. And only 3 on target. We're going to talk about that. Ball possession, 64%. And this was not the full Arsenal house. Touches, 480. Passes, 87. Passing accuracy, 87%. Falls, 7. And then yellow cards, 1 as well. We had 13 corners as well, right? And 13 corners in this game. Now, I want us to talk about these numbers and what they mean in an Arsenal perspective for that game. And why these numbers indicate where Arsenal could end up in the Champions League. Because for me, that is what I care about. So the first thing I want to say is, I think we have graduated to that team that expects to dominate games every single time. We did dominate Madrid and we did dominate PSG. Against PSG, we had so many chances that we survived. Honestly, we survived a lot, right? But we dominated PSG, we dominated Real Madrid, we dominate a couple of clubs, we've dominated a couple of clubs, and they're big clubs. And that performance against Brentford, when you look at these numbers, it shows you Arsenal are a team that is 100% sure they're going to come and have the ball. 64% ball possession, once again, 480 targets, right? So I think this also points to our summer, that as you go into the summer, can you find players that can help you convert the 14 shots on goal to around maybe 7 on target, and then you have like 3 goals in a game, right? Because we also had 13 corners. The 13 corners come from Arsenal pounding you and pounding you and pounding you and mounting pressure, right? Let nobody deceive you. The 13 corners are coming from Arsenal mounting pressure on this team. So it was a good game. I just feel like the officiation is bad against Arsenal, but let me know what you think about it. And of course, we'll be speaking very soon. As always, hit the like button,